There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
For those of you guys just tuning in, this is the Real Estate Roundtable. I'm your host, Adrian Hernandez, and with me today I got Mr.
Ramirez.
And the one and only Mr. KP,
the OG, baby.
Let's go, baby, let's go! For those of you who don't know who KP is, if you've lived under a rock over these last 5 years, OG, who are you? Tell them about who you are. Give us a little synopsis.
All right. Well, bottom line is thank you guys very much for having me on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Stoked.
Right? Invited me all the way over from the other building. So
500 feet.
Yeah, it was tough getting here today. But at the end of the day, and you guys should know that I do work with these guys, kind of in the background, working with the acquisitions team. But at the end of the day, super happy to be here and appreciate it.
Yeah.
And how I got here is really pretty simple. I've been doing this a long time. I've been in real estate now 23 years, and even worked my way through the retail ranks. My wife and I owned a brokerage, an escrow company. 2008 kind of took us out, so we took everything home. All of our agents became secret agents, and we decided just to go home. And we were in Mike Ferry training back then, and it's like more bills, more responsibility, right? Make it work. And so we opened a brand new office street front in Orange, right on the corner at Tustin. And
this traditional real estate office.
Yeah, traditional real estate office. And then we opened an escrow company on top of that. And then the agents all started fading out, and we're like, okay, this is not good. And our financial guy's going, what are you guys thinking? Bail, right? And we're like, no, we got this. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we don't have this. That's not good. So we ended up, the guy let us out of the lease of the office. We just took it home, went back to being small. We started a couple other brokerages here and there with some buddies. And then I ended up hooking up with some guys I'd been with in the land business, and we opened a brokerage. And this is back 2010, 2012. We were just wholesaling houses off the MLS. Right.
That's awesome.
Before agents didn't even know what the hell we were doing.
Right.
Yeah. So,
just getting good deals under contract.
And get them under contract. We had some people that would buy them. This is before
2012.
It was popular.
Yeah,
right.
That was a good time.
And then did some land business too. I was the VP of sales for a land company, and then I was the West Coast VP for a home warranty company, and always been real estate related. And then I had this wild hair to go in insurance because I had this vision of these big ongoing residual checks for the rest of my life. So I did that in 2014, and by 2018 I realized that was not really what I wanted to do. So I came back to wholesaling. And
why is that? Why insurance? Why was it not the thing to do for you?
Well, for me, I was doing what's called final expense insurance, right?
Okay.
Selling people funeral policies, basically.
Oh.
And you got to sell a bazillion of those things to make any money. And you got to buy a bazillion leads. So, I was fortunate to be successful at it, but it's a grind business, right?
Sure.
I was literally on the road 4 hours a day, knocking on doors 10 hours a day. So I was putting in 12, 14-hour days, going home. It's like, hey, honey, up, hey, out the door, right?
You're making good money?
6, 7 days. I made decent money. Not good money. Decent money. But by 2018, after 4 years, it's like, decent money, no.
Right.
So it was just time to go back to real estate. So just like I went into insurance, I quit my VP job of sales on a Friday, went into insurance Monday with no experience, no nothing. And then in 2018, I kind of did the same thing. I just had enough, shut down the agency. I still have some agents that work for me. I still get paid from them, and I still get some residuals. That was the whole goal.
Awesome.
But ultimately, real estate is what I love to do.
Yep.
So we just went back to real estate. Constance had been kind of a retired broker the whole time, so it kind of reinvigorated her to get going a little bit more, and just went back to wholesaling. And it was a long, slow grind to get going again, because you know how it is in real estate. You don't just wake up and go straight to payday in one day. So got it going. And there's some lumps and bumps along the way too, I'll be honest with you. But I was committed. It's like burn the ship. I'm the burn the ship kind of guy. You make a choice, you do the choice, and
go.
And it was, there was even a point, and I don't talk about this a whole lot, but when we made that shift, it was tough getting going, getting the pipeline full. And I was happy to have an appointment for real estate to go make a quick $1,000, and I grab my briefcase and I go out the door, and car's gone.
Oh shit!
And it wasn't stolen, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
they found
it's like shit, right? So at the end of the day, there was some tough times too, right? But we decided to just stick with it, and we got through it. I made a phone call. We got the car back, and so it hasn't always been easy. I have literally been what most would consider wealthy, and then I went out and seen my car gone too. So I know, and now I'm somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Right. So I know how that goes on all sides of the equation.
And nothing will humble you more than getting your car repossessed.
Yeah, it's pretty
Nothing
humbling.
will- yeah.
It's pretty humbling, indeed. But you know what? You got to. It's part of the story,
Oh, 100%.
right?
Yeah.
So it happens. But our commitment was stick with it.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's what we did, and
I love it.
And that led me to sitting here with you guys today.
Yeah. And for those of you guys that want to know more about KP, the OG story, we're going to be interviewing him on the Money Time podcast. So make sure you guys tune into that. We want this to be real estate related. So let's talk about some real estate, let's call it pitfalls that you see most agents, most investors, rather that be on the disposition, on the flipping, on the wholesale side, but some pitfalls where they go wrong that you've seen early in their career, right? Because we've seen some very talented people come through this door that could have made it big, but yet we see some pitfalls, right? What have you seen out there, OG?
It's always the number one thing. You know, people watch social media, they see Instagram, they see the bling, they see the flex, and they come in, and especially in 2020, 21, or after COVID, 21, the rise, it's like easy money. That happened in the early 2000s. Everybody was becoming a real estate agent because you could literally throw a sign in the yard. If you didn't have multiple offers in 3 days, you're like, what the F is wrong with this listing, right?
Right.
People were just throwing cash at stuff. So that's, I think, the number one thing is they see too much of the social media aspect of it, and they believe it's easy, right? And the simple truth is, in my mind, it's not easy. You gotta be a hustler, right? And we talked about this the other day. If you're going to come in, especially on the wholesale side, if you're going to come in, you've got to have a 90 to 120 day float. If you're broke and you think you're going to show up in this business and cash a check in a week, you're probably not going to make it.
Unless you are very, very skilled and you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's
even then, it's going to be crazy rare.
Yeah.
Right, very rare. Yeah.
Crazy rare.
And you still got the timeline. You still got the escrow timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's why I say it's not going to happen in a week unless you get that one rare cash deal where they want to go up. And the fastest wholesale I ever did was 6 days, 6 business days. Because the guy's you got 10 days or you're out.
Right.
We did it in 6, right?
Yeah.
But it's rare. You know how
It's rare. Yeah, that's
super
one in
rare.
how many deals you've done.
Hundreds and hundreds
Right?
and hundreds. Just
Exactly.
one, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, I think that's the biggest pitfall for most people is they think it's easy. And it actually is a simple business, right?
Yeah.
But not easy. You have to have a little thick skin.
So
and
true.
you have to be. And the good news is I'm a grinder.
Right.
Now we have that millionaire mindset sheet which talks about not doing the grind.
Right.
But realistically, I think you have to have the mindset that you're gonna grind. Right.
100%.
You know, you have to do that, and you have to come in. To me, it's all about the sales god. The
Yeah.
sales god is always watching, and the sales god only rewards numbers.
100%.
So if you're not putting in the numbers,
It ain't
guess
gonna
what?
happen.
You're not going to get the result, right?
Forever.
You might get the rare result that leads you to believe you don't have to do the numbers.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you still have to do them. For example, if you come in this morning and you get a deal in the first 10 calls, a lot of people are like, woohoo, let's go drinking, right?
Yep.
But if you know you got to make 100 calls and you only made 10, guess what? The next day you owe the sales guy those 90 extra calls you didn't make today. So tomorrow you got to do 190, right? And that cumulative factor, right, just starts eating people alive,
So true.
right?
So true.
It just has to be.
Always.
You just have to do the numbers.
So true.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what I see. So
It's tried and true.
I
It's
think
tried and
people
true.
have to do it, and then they get here and they just determine it's kind of hard,
Right.
and they're like, "Oh, this is hard,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Too hard for
Or
me."
you put it back on the other side where they call for 1-2 days in a row and they don't get a lead or a deal and they bounce. They
Yeah.
haven't put the enough work or time into it to see it come to fruition.
Yeah.
So it's putting the
Agreed.
time to dials
Yeah.
100% every time.
A lot of people can't do the dials. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't for everybody.
No,
right?
it's really not.
Picking up the phone and dialing is not for everybody. It came natural. I have to say, it really did come natural to me. I mean, I remember working at the dealership. What was I? Not even 18. Yeah, I was. You got to be 18 years old working at a dealership. I was 19 at the time. 18 at the time, working at the dealership. And it's interesting, right? It's interesting to know how the average person can pick up the phone, make 100 calls, and feel mentally defeated. And there's another, I don't say the average person, one person feels mentally defeated, and the other person can pick up the phone and feel like they're not doing enough after 100 calls, right? And I remember being the only kid in that dealership willing to pick up the phone and I think I made 800 calls the first month, and they were like, dude, that's insane. In my mind, I was like, that's not enough, right? And then you have the other side of the spectrum where 100 calls was death, right? And I think that when you feel that, it's like, get out of the business.
Yeah.
Get out of the business.
And maybe it's not even calls, maybe it's texts or door knocks or whatever your flavor of the business is, you have to do those numbers.
100%.
Right? Or have somebody doing the numbers.
Yeah.
Right? If it's not you, then you have to have somebody doing it, because the sales guy only rewards activities. And in Ed Milet's book, you can be getting a handshake and congratulated today, and as soon as you turn around, you're gonna get smacked in the back of the head and knocked on your face. Right? There's no. The attaboy lasts so very short.
Yep.
Right? So you always have to be just doing the deal.
What does Tim Grover say in Winning? He says, once you win, the bus is there to take you right back to where you started.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's just there's never you may win short. This is one thing I got to talk about. This is big. You may win short term, right? You may win short term, and a lot of us think that means. That's more of like a long-term goal mentally is what we could do short-term. Well, I'm not making any sense. Let me put it this way. What I've found, okay, is that when we set up when we're looking at goals and we're looking at hitting different milestones, you have this large milestone that's far away from us, right? But a lot of us think that that's super close. There are all of these tiny, tiny little wins that have to add up in order for us to get there. And a lot of us think that it's just one big win and you get to that top of that mountain or whatever that mountain is. And then here's the secret is once you get there, there's a whole nother mountain waiting on the other side that you weren't able to see. And it's all those tiny little wins that I believe if we can fall in love with each peak, right, it makes the peak that much more enjoyable, right? But it's knowing that it's so much further ahead. I used to think, and I'm relating to this, I used to think that once I got there, that like it was it, right? You would make $1 million, right? And it was like it. And then I remember making $1 million, and I was like, this ain't shit. Like what the this is not what I thought it was going to be. Or maybe you hit the milestone of buying a car, and you buy the car only to realize like that was cool for a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it goes away.
Yeah.
And it's that other milestone. I hope that made sense.
No, it's
I
like
get it.
new levels, new devils. You reach a milestone, but then you're saying you're not satisfied.
Yeah.
I don't think people like Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, all these like top caliber athletes have the same mindset like we do. Yeah, they win a Super Bowl, great, but what do you think Patrick Mahomes is doing right now? He's training. He's getting ready for next season because they want to attain and build this kingdom. Or actually, they asked him, they said, what do you think about building this kingdom? He's like, I don't want to, or a dynasty. I don't want to build a dynasty because that sounds old to me. I want to build a massive conglomerate that we're going to take over and be the new Belichick and Brady. How can we be the Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes?
It's falling in love with the process, not the result, right? It's really
Yeah.
falling in love with that process.
Yeah.
Right.
And we've been there. We bought a beautiful custom home in Orange, and back in the 2006, we thought we were all that in a bag of chips, right? And these crack real estate agents went out and bought a top shelf house right before the crash. So, and that we did the same thing. We got the house, and we're like, okay, that's nice. Now what? Right?
Yeah.
Went to the Mercedes dealership. Bought a nice Mercedes. We literally sitting in the parking lot. We're like, all right, we did that. Now what? Right? Literally, we had those conversations. So it's always about what's next, right? Because the minute you get complacent, you're kind of screwed.
And I heard the other day, they're like really successful people don't focus on how much money it's not the money they're in love with. It's the process. It's knowing that they're winning is what they're in love with. The money is just a byproduct. It's just a result, right? And I believe that the people that come in just for the money, it's real short term.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They get the paycheck, they get the deal, and they're out the next day. Right? And we see it happen over and over and over again.
Over and over.
Right?
Yeah.
What's another pitfall? So they don't, that's that. Hold on. I want to go back to that. I want to talk about something real fast too. About those 100 calls. This is one thing I've noticed, and I don't know if you can piggyback on this, and you too, Nick. I've noticed really popular people in high school. And I'll ask them, were you popular in high school? Like I'll interview them, right? Are you popular in high school? Yeah, somewhat popular. Okay. I noticed those people have a tough time with rejection over the phone. And the people that are like, were you popular in high school? And they're like, not so much. They don't have that big of an issue over the phone. They can handle rejection a little bit better. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I think so. I believe that, and I think a lot of it has to do with what makes me successful on the phone is my ability to flip the switch. You know, each phone call to me is a little play, right? They say hello, the curtain goes up. You know, the monkey, somebody whines the monkey, and I go into action. And that's the advantage of having done it a million times, right? You can do it on almost autopilot. And then the phone call ends, curtain goes down, you take a breath, you know, somebody answers the phone, curtain goes up, wind up the monkey, right? So for me, and I wasn't popular in high school, by the way. I was an athlete, an A student. They called my name on the thing almost every day for winning a race or whatever, but I didn't feel popular. I was actually kind of a geek, right? To be honest with you. But I have the ability. I've got this innate switch, right? That I can just switch the switch, I just have it. I don't know how I got it, but I got it. I think I got it from when I was a kid, but we'll go into that on another podcast or so. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think people just, even if you're not good at it, you have to be willing to get good at it
for sure
and pay the dues. You have to pay some dues. And you said the other day we were talking about that first phone call. When I think it was Eddie was talking about getting his butt kicked on that first phone call, right? Yeah, he hung up and he was just, man, he's like, oh my God, right? I just got my ass kicked on that call. But, it never happened again. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, why couldn't the first phone call be the best phone call ever? And it's like, what, it can. But once again, it's so rare. Yeah. Right? It's so rare. You're going to get your ass kicked. You're going to scuff your knees up. You're going to say the wrong things. You're going to do the wrong stuff. But like you said, it's just part of the process. As long as you know that's part of the process and somebody's explained it to you, you'll be, all right, I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Yep.
But if you come in and somebody tells you, man, you got this, you're going to get a deal in the first 10 calls, blah, 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 you're doing them a huge disservice.
Yeah, good luck.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? We have to set the expectation of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the money thing, too.
Yeah.
Whether you're an agent or a wholesaler or whatever it is, you tell an agent you're going to come in, make $1 million in the first 6 months, and then, they don't work.
Yeah.
Or nobody shows them how to work, then
it happens.
It's not going to happen.
There's a lot of people, especially from where I grew up, where I'm from, they're asking me, hey, how do I get into wholesale? How do I get into flipping homes? How do I get into real estate? Because it seems like it comes easy to you. And so when they asked or told me that, I realized it does not come easy. They don't see what the work is behind the scenes. They don't see us grinding day in after day out, the last 5-6 years, or at least a long time I've been doing it for. It's not as easy as people look. It may be easy, maybe simple, but it's also the belief that you can do it. You can go out, you can make those calls, but if you're not staying consistent and being able to make that happen for you, it's with everything in life. I mean, you're going to get a job elsewhere, whether it's sales or it's tech or something. You're always having to put in that consistent work, and you have to believe.
No matter what it is.
No matter what it is. And so it's like, it doesn't come easy. So it's almost like they slap me in the face for saying that. It's like, wait a second. They don't see what we're building. They don't see the slaps we get in the face. They don't see the things that we've had to put up on our own side to maybe lose money, to put into something to see the return. And so I'm like, you know what? Try it. Get into wholesale. Now, maybe not with us. We're happy to help and mentor. But as far as just trying to make it happen, you got to go all in. And you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's what people see things in this business.
And some people are not built for no paycheck.
No.
Yeah.
Right? The commission world.
Yeah. Not for everyone.
That's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people.
Not only are you getting punched in the face, right? Not only that you have to deal with rejection, not only do you have to go through the hard stuff, but there's no guaranteed paycheck.
Right.
So most people are like, I'm out.
Yeah. I'd rather take way less and be safe than just burn the bridge and go all in.
But safe doesn't get you to where you really want to go.
No.
Right? And that's the thing, is safe doesn't get you to where you want to go. And people in what we do, it's risk, right? It's risking the ordinary, right? Risking the ordinary for the unordinary.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But you got to be willing to go through that. You got to be willing. Like, I talked to I want to say a lot of my buddies, but I talked to a few of my buddies, and they'll have that mindset struggle, right? Where they're like, dude, I enjoy that security. I'm like, I get that, but do you want that security forever? Like, is that all you want? What happens when it ends? What happens when you're done?
Yeah.
I don't know, you make more money, and it's a bigger risk, but we'll have Troy on the other podcast. Troy was talking about this. He's like, dude, it's the people that risk big, that they're the ones that live in these houses that are along the coast of California. Yeah. He's like, those are the people that risk big, right? I think he's paying $1 million right now a month in salaries that are just pouring out of his pocket with no return right now.
Yeah.
Like imagine doing that, right? But
Talk about risky.
talk about risky. But the fact that you even have $1 million to spend every
That's
single
$12
month,
million.
and then what's on the other side? 30,
Nothing.
$40 million.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So I have a question then, as far as maybe the belief factor. Are some people maybe born with this instinct to think big and grow big, and there's others that are just okay being
No, you're not born with it.
safety,
No, you're not born
like a
with it.
safety net, or is it just something that you're around?
It's your environment. It's anything.
It's
It's
the
your
environment. That's it?
Yeah, you put a pit bull in a environment with a bunch of fighting dogs.
They're gonna
he's
fight
going to
her.
be a fighting dog. You put the pit bull in a room of nothing but loving little what would you call those little dogs? Those little Yorkies, right? Actually,
Yeah.
those things are mean. But you put you around some.
like a
it's going to be a nice
like Harper. Like
it's
a
going to be a
little
nice
Maltese.
little. You get the point, right? It's the environment.
But you don't think there's something in our mind that just
Some
just
people like
the
Elon,
will
yeah, like Elon Musk. Some people, yeah.
just are born.
But I think for the most part, it's an environment.
Is
Like,
it?
I know for me, it was my dad, my
Yeah.
parents. Like that. That's what it was for me, for sure.
It's not a skilled trait or like a learned.
I don't think so.
A learned
I don't
trait.
think so. What do you think?
I think we are all born with an innate something, right? But then due to environment, it gets tamped down, right?
I like that.
I believe we all have the spark,
I like that.
but if you're not in the environment that allows the spark or lights the
Yeah.
spark,
So good.
then you probably are going to settle for settling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But I think we all have an innate something,
For sure.
a bigger, better being. But, comfortable is comfortable.
Yeah.
Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Right? But how many people do we know? And I know more because I'm a little bit older, but, they've done the 40-40 plan and they're retired in their 60s and 70s and they're not leading good lives. They're just, kind of getting by till the pine box, right? So that doesn't work.
It doesn't sound enjoyable. That
No.
is-
it
That sounds
really
really
doesn't.
sad coming out of your mouth right now.
But so many people are doing it, and so many people that watch this are doing it, and so many people we know and that they know are doing it, and mostly it's the older generation. They're not, it's a sweeping generalization to say they're not risk takers, but most of them, especially if they grew up in the Depression era or they're boomers, that's what they watch their Depression era parents go through that, and it's
Right.
like, hold on, save,
You're right.
be comfortable, mine, right?
Yeah.
You're right.
Pay for your house, be comfortable, right?
You're right.
And a lot of them are sitting on hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in equity doing absolutely nothing but parked on concrete where they could be taking that money and using it to become millionaires, right? But they won't release the comfortable chair or whatever it is they're
Yeah.
holding on to because it was never sparked in them or nurtured in them, and they don't know what to do about it. We're living in a different world where risk is acceptable. And on your side, where you're talking about risk and reward, risk can also be very painful, right? Because it's not all risk and reward. It's risk and, get your butt beat.
Yeah.
And I've been there, right? I've been to where I couldn't find $1 to get on a bus, and then I've been what some would consider wealthy too.
Yeah.
So, and those things happen pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You can go back and forth pretty quick, but if you're not willing to go all in, then you're probably never going to experience either,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I've had a few transactions where I thought it was over. Thought for sure it was over.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Just keep going.
yeah. That's all you can do. I mean, what's the option? Stop.
Throw in the towel.
Even when I went into this business, I talked to my
There's no
dad
quitting.
first, and he's like, "Kevin, you got to have a paycheck, right? Everybody in my family is paycheck people. Well, the ones that are still with us, right, that aren't retired, but even the retired ones are living on a very small retirement, right? Worked 60-something years, almost 70 years, and retired on a small little retirement, and they have a house, and they're going to live a comfortable. I'm talking about my sister mostly. She's one of the most beautiful people you'll ever want to meet. But they live in a very fixed world, right? Now she's perfectly comfortable with that fixed world. Don't get me wrong; it's literally one of the most beautiful people you're going to meet. So it's okay for some people. They
Yeah.
want to live that
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's
Yeah.
just not okay for others, and the ones that it's not for. Even when they're being comfortable, they got an itch though. There's something always in the back of their head saying,
There's more.
The noise, the tape is going,
Yeah.
the noise is in. There's like, oh,
The
what
you know,
ifs.
but then they're like, yeah, but comfortable's comfortable. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that innate, whatever it is in all of us. it just makes it to the surface in some of us.
Yeah, it screams louder
Yeah.
in some of
Yes.
our heads than
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
And then it could be environmentally triggered too, like
Yeah.
your dad triggered you, or maybe you get fed up with being fed up, right?
And
Or
it
whatever it
triggers
is,
it.
something happens and that day comes and you're like,
Yeah.
man, I got to get uncomfortable, right?
Fuck this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you also notice, also as a quick little thing, like when you go to the gym every morning, you see the same people every morning. It's consistency too. So like you see the same people. If their routine's the same in the morning as you see them come in and leave, it's probably their same lifestyle because they want to get better, they want to grow, and whether it's them with a W-2 job, they still are trying to build a consistent lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's just more, you said more tolerant than others. More people want to turn that switch on, and others are okay with it.
Yeah.
And you can't fault them for that.
No, you can't put your pressure on them either.
You can't, and you can't.
It's got to
'Cause
be an
that-
internal thing.
they're fixated.
If something happens, or
Yeah.
maybe they might be inspired by what you do.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it helps light the spark, right? Because we don't have to force it on anybody, but we can try to maybe not even purposefully inspire, but by what we do, inspire anyway. With podcasts like this, people can see what happens behind the scenes and what's going on in the minds of people that are succeeding. And they're like, oh, well, they seem like kind of normal guys. And
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
making it happen. So maybe it is possible for me to make
Right.
it happen. And
Yeah.
to what you were saying, a lot of it has to do with habits too, right? You know, these guys in the gym going every day, it's
Yeah.
their habit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get locked in bad habits or negative habits, and they don't even know any better
Right.
until
Yep.
somebody shakes the tree, right?
Mhm.
Or something happens, or they read that book or see a podcast or whatever, and it's like
Changes everything.
it can change everything on a dime.
Yeah,
Because
1000%.
you know that book Atomic Habits, we just finished listening to that.
That's
It's
a
a
Yeah.
crazy good book.
crazy good book.
Right?
Yeah.
And because even tells you how to get out of the habits,
Right.
right? To
Right.
set the pattern to change the habits, right?
Right.
So it's you know, people get stuck. We're creatures of comfort,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Oh yeah.
but I like being uncomfortable. I can at least put up with being uncomfortable on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I like a good challenge.
I live off of it. It's
You
bad.
feed it.
It's bad. What else? What are some other pitfalls that you see agents going through? So not falling in love with the numbers. By the way, you got to fall in love with the nose. Like I learned to fall in love with the nose, right?
Yeah.
Because I just know it's just one step closer to that yes. So give me that no, baby. Give it to me. So many people are
Yeah.
afraid of it, right? Welcome
Yeah.
it, right? Welcome it.
Yeah.
So what else? What else do people?
I'd say probably not trying to become master of their craft, right? Because you can come in and be reasonably lucky, right?
Yeah.
And I think luck, it probably kills more salespeople than anything.
For sure.
Right? Especially in the 2001s.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
seeing them getting kicked in the face right now.
Yeah.
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 But because you're always striving to be better, Nick's always striving to be better, I'm always trying to be better, right? So you also have to be putting in, I believe we're all kind of lucky too, but we're lucky because we've earned being lucky.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You
Right?
put the time in for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's not really luck; it's earned, right? But
Yeah.
however you want to couch that.
Yeah.
But a
Yeah.
lot of people come in and they just don't want to be, even agents. They just don't want to. They don't want to learn the scripts. They don't
No.
want to learn the dialogues. They don't want to do the time, right? So when they sit down with somebody, they're just winging it instead of. And we role play, you know, several times a week. And just yesterday, I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was a guy named Armando. He was doing an expired call, and he crushed it, right? Just crushed it.
Yeah.
It was Mike Ferry from start to finish because he knew it.
Right.
And he knew it
Exactly.
enough to internalize it so he didn't have to be just thinking about what to say next.
made it his
He was
own.
able to flow the conversation,
Yep.
got the result. But you obviously could tell he put in the time and the effort
Yep.
to
Yep.
do that.
Well,
Yes.
so this is big because so many people are in real estate, and KP's saying you need to master your craft, right? But they get into real estate, and then 4 or 5 weeks in, they add solar. And then 4 or 5 weeks in, they add financial management through, I don't know, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then you hear Amazon, right? As Nick just said, right? They
Yeah.
jump into 1,000 things
do
before
it.
mastering that one thing. I was having this conversation on Instagram with someone a couple of weeks ago, And I'm like, you need to master that one thing. And they're like, no, I do this, and this. And I'm like, you're never going to succeed. I'm sorry, it's never going to happen. Yep. And that person got really mad at me, right? And they're like, why would you be so negative? I'm not being negative. I'm just letting you know it's if you chase 2 rabbits, you're going to catch none of them.
Yep.
Right? It's impossible. So focus on one, catch the first rabbit, master your craft. And then once you master that, go master something else. But master the first thing first.
Yep.
Right? What's that? The jack of all.
It's a jack of all trades, master of none.
Master of none.
So,
and you get nowhere and make no money by doing that.
So you said the same thing to me in the past, but then I think I might have responded back with, then how much time do you have to master that?
Well, okay, so let's talk about someone we know, right? Here's a good example, Chris the Shark. Chris the Shark mastered sales before he got into anything else, yes or no?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. That was what he mastered, right? Was sales. We just got to find one thing to master. And once you can master that to bring you enough income to say I can go do something else, then that makes sense.
Yeah.
But for you to not master anything and then go to try to chase something without income from this one thing, it's impossible. It's like trying to chase 2 rabbits.
Yeah.
Catch the first rabbit, start to eat a little bit, then go try. If you don't like the way he tastes, go find the fucking next rabbit.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think the issue is with social media. They see the shiny object syndrome. So when they see this guy, on Instagram story, I made $10,000 this month on Amazon. Oh, I made another $5,000 on solar. Oh, I did $10,000 wholesale fee in real estate. It's like, wait a second, which one are you actually making money at? Because what if you made $20,000 in that month from all 3? The next month you made 0, because you're not putting your time and effort into all of those. You're putting maybe 5 in wholesale, 10% in solar, maybe
because you haven't
90%.
mastered them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Master wholesale, get wholesale to where it's fully operational, right, and then move on.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And then you have all these gurus.
And I think the key is fully operational.
Right.
Because you can master it, but the true part of mastering it is to build it and then be able to step away for it, and it's still spinning off income, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where you were alluding to a minute ago,
100%,
right? It's like not just
100%.
master it and still have to do it,
Correct.
and then go add something else. Like master it, create it, build it, find a leader, create a leader or leaders to make sure that's running, so that you can step away. You can still keep an eye on it. Don't get me wrong; you're not just turning your whole thing over to someone else, and then master that. Right, and then build the organization underneath it, and then repeat and repeat and repeat. Look at Quentin Flores, and Chris. These guys both have 10, 12, 14, 18, 20 businesses, right? But they have done that. They've systematically built them one at a time
and started with one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Brad Lee asked Ryan Pineda on their podcast. He said, "Why do you have 10 companies if they're making 7 figures each? Why not have one company making 8 or 9 figures?" And so I think Ryan was trying to explain the fact where he just wants to diversify because it brings in more people through education, through flipping, through, I don't know, maybe
It's
Amazon
spider
or whatever.
web.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more of a spider web.
Exactly.
Well, Tony talks about that at Business Mastery too. Tony says, I rather own a percentage of 50 companies than 100% of one.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that one company goes belly up, start all over,
Right.
and he's got 220 companies or something like that.
Insane amount.
It's just, and buying more all the time because it just comes to him, right?
You know what I'm stoked on is that Tony AI, he's duplicating himself in AI.
Yeah.
That's going to be, I know he told us he was working on that, 4 years ago? That has to be highly advanced by now.
I think it's getting pretty close.
I'm assuming it can almost run a seminar.
Is he going to be a robot?
No, he's going to hologram.
A hologram?
It's a hologram.
Kind of like the Tupac?
Kind of like Tupac, but a hologram. From what I've heard, could be wrong. It's going to be like a hologram Tony AI.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Well, and it's going to have to be, just practically speaking, his voice is almost gone.
Yeah.
Right? The doctors told him he can only speak for 4 hours at a time. When have you ever heard him speak for only 4 hours at a time?
Well, dude, the first UPW I went to in 2020, 21, he did the whole thing. He was practically up there the whole time. And then I go back. No, that was 2019. Then I go back we go back in 2019, and I went back in 2017 with Kellyanne. He was less on the stage. 2019, less on the stage, right? And unfortunately, he wasn't even able to close out Date with Destiny.
No, and that's, I think, from the night before, too. I don't know if you saw that, where he was up on stage, and he's just, yelling victory. And all the men were yelling victory, right?
Yeah.
And even afterward, they interviewed some of the women, are like, we've never seen anything like that before. It's like so intense with all these men, and the testosterone and victory, and one girl's like, I'm so excited right now. It was kind of funny. She was just sliding off her chair, right? But at the end of the day, that shot his voice because he did that for like 30 minutes.
He kept going, dude.
He kept going. And then when he thought he was done, he would go some more. And
Right.
the guys, it was incredibly powerful.
It is one of the most powerful.
I knew it totally had to jack his throat. But he was in it for the minute, right? And he was all in. He wasn't faking it because he was feeding off an energy coming back out of the crowd too, and it was powerful.
You guys, do David. We don't know how much longer Tony's going to be here. Just do it.
Yeah,
Do it.
I
Do all of it.
I need to.
Do all of it.
I would say do any Tony Robbins stuff you can. Start with UPW. That's what we did. And then we bought a package, and now we've done 3 different things last year. We've still got to go to Wealth Mastery. I think that's the last one on our package, right?
Yeah.
But we've done everything in between. And you get an app on your phone, for heaven's sakes. You could do Tony 24/7. So I'm not saying you have to become a Tonyite, right? But if you don't have Tony Robbins at some point or influence in your life, I think you're missing out.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many, but he's one of the granddaddies of the whole thing.
Of everything, most quotes we hear, he came up with.
Yeah.
What I will say this though, if you struggle personally with like limiting beliefs, right? If you struggle with like self-confidence, if you struggle with just buying into your insecurities, all that bullshit, you need Tony.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was for me. Like I was huge into insecurities, right? Like every one of my insecurities eating me alive. I was confident on the outside, but I wasn't confident on the inside. It was more like a fake confidence. You guys know that fake confidence?
Oh,
yeah.
Like I had that. And then I went to Tony, and then it really, like I got to say, I don't think if it wasn't for Tony, I don't think I'd be here right now. It just, UPW changed my life the first day.
Changed your life. And I wanted to tell you guys that are watching the podcast right now, Adrian comes over with us and prospects with us in the prospecting room. We have 9 to 12 dedicated prospecting time, and he comes over. By the way, he gets a deal every session, bastard. And
I'm sorry.
but you know what?
I'm good friends with the sales gods.
but the simple truth
Real
is
close.
he's living what we're talking about here because he fires everybody up with affirmations, and if he's got to take a break and go get on the trampoline to get pumped up, right? He's living proof that this stuff works because then he'll get all jacked and go back on the phone. It's high energy. Let's go. Right? It works.
It works. It's not hype.
Yeah.
It's not. So many people concern it with hype, dude. And it's like, it's not hype. This is the shit we need to get out of who we are. Yep. Like, who you are isn't working. Let's get over it. Mm-hmm. Like, who you are is not fucking working. So change who you are, right? I'm not saying your being, but how you act, your energy, right? Because that feeds off. And I always believe everyone has another level to them. Right? Another level of happiness, another level of fitness, another level of internal gratefulness and just, proud achievement. Everyone has that next level, right? But so many people of us are just settling at what we think is.
There's a lot of settlers out there.
A lot.
Yeah. All right,
settlers.
let's go back to what else? How else do agents fail? Or wholesalers, investors, pitfalls?
It's easy. They're inconsistent. I'm going to put that out there. I'm going to look at the camera because everyone is so inconsistent in this business.
Right.
They work for... Today's Friday. I can almost assure you no one's probably working. Because I got a deal in escrow. One deal. And what is it? It's February 17th. We have like 40 escrows right now. Why is that stopping you from not getting another 39? That's the issue in this business is people get so complacent. One deal, I'm going to make 12 grand in the next 30 days. Fuck that. Why can't we make 120 grand? Why can't we make $1.2 million? I know we have not earned 7 figures in 1 month yet, but we've been damn close. But I know people consistently earning $2-3 million a month in what we're doing in our line of wholesaling.
Oh, yeah.
But are they taking days off? Are they taking Fridays off to go to the beach?
No, they work Saturdays, actually.
Okay, they maybe work Saturdays.
No. They work all the way to Saturday. Like they work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
yes.
they ain't going
Absolutely.
to the beach.
Yeah.
They ain't going to the beach.
It's my girlfriend's birthday today, but we're still working. I'm sorry, but like as much as I love her, we're still working today because business never stops. It never shuts off. Yes, we do need a rest day. I do believe that, and Sundays are rest days unless you have to take an important phone call all day. But I think that's the key word in pitfalls is inconsistency. Because you are pissed off that 1 month you made 30 grand and then the next month you make 0. Well, why? Because you got complacent. You got easy because you closed. You got comfortable.
That 12 grand is enough to float you for 3 months. I can't imagine who that is.
Oh,
but let's
Lord.
say it is, right?
Gosh.
And so you take your 4 months off and run out of money, and then you think you're going to come back. And we talked about it earlier. You get that deal in 1 week, and then you're going to get flush real quick. And it takes 90 days to get the pipeline full. So then you're broke as a joke for 90 days.
Yep.
Then you get a few escrows, and then you get comfortable again, and then you run out of money, and then you go back, and it's another 90-day broke cycle. And that's the typical real estate thing. We all know that, right?
100%.
The same cycle.
It's just how it goes. Whee!
It's a roller coaster.
Oh no!
It's a roller coaster.
Oh no!
Yeah.
And I've been training and hiring and firing agents for 20 years, and it's the same. It's
the same.
always the same.
Right.
Whether
Yep.
it's this office or the next office or some guy in the middle of Idaho.
Always.
Right. It's just the same.
Always.
Right?
And that's fine when it's 200, 100, 250, 175.
Yeah, that's a much better cycle
Yes,
to be.
but when you're 100, 0, 20, 0, 10, 2, 5, that shit doesn't work.
Negative.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That shit doesn't work. And, you know, it's funny that you bring that up because I was having that conversation with that Troy guy. And he was like, dude, I much rather live my life like this. He's like, but here's the thing. And that's where I got the numbers from. He goes, I much rather live a 350, 250, 300, 175, right? And he goes, to me, that's still progress, right? But I'm going like this. Most people's progress is downhill. It's a stake, but it's downhill.
Yeah.
We can have a roller coaster as long as that shit's going uphill. I'm cool,
I'm
right?
good.
I'm gonna go
Climbing
with
the
the
mountain.
ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing this roller coaster downhill, it's just a matter of time before I'm done and I'm out.
Yeah, and that's what happens to most people. It's not even this. It's this down in a flat line.
Yeah.
That's
what it is. Yeah.
It's the flat line that's killing them, right?
Oh, contacts. That's right. Hello?
Yeah.
So, that's really how it works for most people. So, you're right. Consistency is the key.
It's probably the biggest thing.
That's
At least something every day
That's
better
it.
than, everything in one day and 6 days off.
Well, let's talk about what you said with the sales gods, right? The sales gods will only reward those that are putting in the work.
It's just how it works.
And the work compounds. So people wonder, hey, why did this person get on the phone for a year, right? And then the second year, all of a sudden, they're crushing it. They didn't do much the first year, but the second year, they're crushing it. It's what Warren Buffett talks about. It's the eighth wonder of the world. It's called the compound effect.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just a matter of time before your results, day after day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, consistently, week after week after week, all of a sudden, there's a 365x compound return that happens in year 2.
Because it almost never happens in the time frame we want it to happen in.
Never.
That's the key.
Never.
If you're doing
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
because you need it to happen,
Good luck.
good luck
Good
with
luck,
that. It's
yeah.
almost never going to happen,
Never.
right? Because that's not how it works.
Right.
You have to do it. Now, and I mentioned earlier that compound effect also happens negatively.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
If you're not doing your 100 calls today and you don't do it tomorrow and you show up Wednesday and do 50, guess what? You owe the sales guy 250 calls.
Yep.
And on top of the 100 calls
That you missed.
that you missed.
Yes.
Right? So, that's what really gets people in trouble is that negative compound effect.
Oh, yeah,
right?
that's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. I don't know.
You know what's
Talk
funny?
About the negative
I
compound
play the
effect.
negative compound effect personally too. Like things on like pieces of paper on the ground, trash, whatever. If you don't pick it up, I feel like negatively and psychologically, bad things will happen to you if you don't pick up that piece of trash, or if you don't put the cart away. People behind you leave in the parking lot where the cars can't park. I always think in my mind, if I don't put it away, I'm gonna get castrated somehow, some way, and I believe it's the same way in also business.
Have you
That's just
seen
me.
the cart guys?
On Instagram.
On Instagram?
Yeah,
No, I haven't.
yeah, and they like yell.
They're hilarious,
It's so
dude.
funny.
Which, put your fucking cart back. Like,
It's not that hard.
It's right fucking
Yeah.
there. It's 5 feet away. You're
Yeah.
already right there, you lazy
They
piece
choose to
of
leave
shit.
in the middle of the parking lot, but bad things happen to you.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Now let me ask you, completely random, but talking about parking lots, do you
Yeah.
pick up spare change?
Absolutely, all the time. And when I pick it up, I say money flows to me easily and effortlessly. Because I do not block myself out from receiving money. I was listening
Yes.
to this again on the book Secrets to the Millionaire Mind this morning. He says, again, I've read this book like 10 times, but he goes, we have to open ourselves up to money. Most of us walk past a penny. We walk past like 5 cents on the ground. That's you receiving money, and as you walk past it, you are saying no to money. I don't care how much the amount is, you are saying no to money. So therefore, you are restricting yourself from receiving any more money. So when I see a penny on the ground, I believe that was given to me. I pick it up, money comes to me easily, naturally, and effortlessly, and I pick up a whole bunch of pennies.
Okay, me
Yeah.
too. I was just
I
asking
do
because
too.
some people I see them walk by it all the time. I'm not too proud to bend down and pick up a penny.
Absolutely
right? Because
not.
I do the same thing. I bend down. Hey, the universe is rewarding me with
Thank you.
a penny today, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it might be, because I'm opening myself to the idea that I'm being rewarded by the universe for something.
John Alexandrov was a money coach. Alex Lair hired him for a group of ours that we had a couple of years back, like 5 years back, and that's what he talked about. He preached us on talking about we have a lot of mental money barriers, right? And a lot of it is just receiving it. And so for some of us, he's like, if you guys struggle with receiving it, just start picking up money that you see. Start picking up pennies. You'll notice you just start opening yourself up a little bit more. Or anytime you go spend money, right? When you spend money or you swipe a card or you're paying with something with cash, you say money flows to, or every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied. Every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied, right? So it's never like this is going away forever, right? This is going to come back to me.
Yeah,
and these are little mindset things that really like he helped me with that made it really helped. Another thing was like if you guys pay with cash.
Yeah, here and there.
Rarely.
Sometimes.
Rarely, but if you do, right, and you get change, he says never tip, like never leave the change. That's your change. Take your change home and put it in a jar. Right? And then stack it up, right? And so I've been doing it for the past, I don't know how many years, 6 years, 7 years, or since he told us. And, dude, we have, I don't know, there's probably like $5 grand.
5 or 6 milk jugs full of water jugs full of money.
And then he says, come up with a certain amount of money that you, like, at the end of the day, come up with the threshold. So let's just say $10. So anything in your wallet that is under $10, loose bills, has to go in there also.
There you go.
Right? And so we have like tons of $1 bills, $5 bills, right? Because I think at first we were like, oh, it's $20, right? And then I noticed, I was like, fuck, I'm putting a lot of money in this thing, right? And so I brought it down. It's like $10 now. So if we have 5s, I'll put in there. If we have 1s, we'll put in there. And we have jars full of them. And it's just compound. Right. And then he says you either take that and you can cash it and give it away. He gives it away. What he used to do, he's passed unfortunately, but what he used to do, God bless his soul, such a great teacher. What he used to do is he would take that money and then he would go give it away. So he would go cash it and then give it away to a charity or whatever.
Nice.
And it would be tens of thousands of dollars.
Nice.
Just off spare change.
I like it.
Wow.
Since COVID, I've been leaving change at the grocery store. I'm not super crazy about handling spare change anymore, but I think I just changed me on that.
Carry some hand
And I heard a
sanitizer.
lot of those, tip jars you see at grocery stores or McDonald's. I heard maybe it's a Fugazi that like they don't really actually donate that money. And I know about that because it was in a marketing class and they said like it's a scam. It's like a purple or red scam or something that like you drop those pennies in, or the twirly with things at McDonald's back in the day. They'll send it to Ronald McDonald. I'm not here to say it could be true or not true, but I never believed in ever saying, or like, hey, do you want to donate $5 to the Pet Foundation? No. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Like at H&M, I'm like, why would I give you $5 to donate just like to the kids in Africa? Is it really going to Africa, or is it just going to pay your next
Going
paycheck?
into the lunch fund. That's
Yeah. So
We'll ask him. Ronald McDonald, did you give the money to the charity? Yes or no? See if they respond.
you should see that that whole McDonald's scam. There's an HBO about the Monopoly game at McDonald's. You don't like McDonald's? I love McDonald's.
You guys,
Sorry.
I have a wife with a. Hold on, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. You okay? Maybe you've the
I know
the
exactly
Monopoly.
what you're talking about, right?
It's an HBO like TV series about how people got scammed because of one person creating those fake Monopoly stamps to win the $1 million, and so they'd actually go in and recreate those little things you buy off the fries or the Coke bottle, whatever. And it just goes into thinking, all right, people are actually investing in these Ronald McDonald foundations or whatever. Is it real? These donation sites. And so I never want to ever give my money away to something that may not go in good favor for them. Maybe it's bad juju for them, but for me, you're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it is.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But
I'll say, and sorry guys, my wife was texting me. I have a baby. Oh, I'm so
Not
sorry.
too happy.
Well, no, I last week we were doing a podcast and I missed an important text message. So if you see me, hop on. Sorry guys.
It's all good.
It's a baby at home. You know what I mean?
Gotta do it.
Gotta do what I gotta
Been
do.
there.
Right?
Done
I don't want to get home and then sleep outside with the dogs. Nobody wants to sleep outside with the dogs. Well, my dogs don't sleep outside. They actually sleep inside on the bed. I'll be sleeping outside.
There you go.
And it's fucking freezing, right? So what are we talking about?
fraud,
change, spare change. It's kind of where we started.
donations.
And I would like to say, since we went off on the Ronald McDonald, I had a grandson born with a bad heart, and went to Chalk Hospital. Actually, his aortas were reversed, so the minute he came out, the good blood was being pumped. It was just all his blood was pumping backwards. The bad blood was being pumped to his body, and then the good blood was being pumped to his lungs.
He was born like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't even know this was possible.
No, what
So
the heck?
immediately, when he went blue like that, they punched a hole in his heart to get at least some leakage going, and then they immediately took him in and reversed his aortas. Right? They literally
As a baby.
Yep.
Wow.
Replumbed him
Tiny
basically to get the good blood going to his body and the bad blood going through his lungs to be reoxygenated. But the moral of the story was, since you brought up Ronald McDonald House, is they took very good care of our daughter because the kid was in Chalk Hospital, and they got to stay in Ronald McDonald House because they lived all the way out in Paris.
Wow.
And instead of driving in, the Ronald McDonald House put them up for free
Wow.
for months because,
Good job.
That's incredible.
little Hunter was in Chalk Hospital.
Was that the kid that was running around here? He came in like this to this office.
Yeah, the little one.
Yeah.
The little one?
boy.
No
That was
way.
him.
Yeah.
The little crazy guy.
The little 5-6 year
Yeah,
old now.
little hyper kid.
That is crazy. Well, God bless him. I
I
mean,
know.
the fact that he was able to,
It's a good thing.
that is crazy.
But Ronald McDonald House,
And
super solid.
Nick's not over here giving Ronald McDonald his damn change.
Hey,
and he's over here
thanks, Nick.
saving kids and hearts.
Right.
Nick,
Somehow
what
it's
the?
God.
Nick,
My
God.
Maybe it's like the African
What a
ones. I don't know. Maybe it's the
bastard.
ones like the H&M stores and Nordstrom's.
I'm sure
$5
I'm sure some of it does not get to its
Tijuana, I
intended
don't know.
targets.
Poor
right?
kids, Nick. Poor kids.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll start our own foundation.
It's a tough world.
Talk about a pattern interrupt, though.
Well, you
DP
have-
just
you have
slams
a-
the pattern interrupt into
You
that
have a thing
podcast.
that, you guys donate money to, don't you?
Yeah, the well for food.
Yeah,
The-
so
Feeding America?
Feeding America.
Yeah.
Is money
Feeding
really getting there?
Yeah,
Just saying. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. I said
Nick.
it.
So, Tony.
Well, I don't send it per
Yeah.
transaction. I've
No.
been sending it annually.
Yeah.
Like last year, I think we send them 15 grand total.
Oh, was it?
17
Okay.
grand
Yeah, I
total.
know that you do something like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So we for Feeding America, Tony Robbins. What our eventual long-term goal will be, we talked about doing things in sectors, right? So we're not there yet, but eventually we'll do some sort of foundation where it's like, what do we call it? Homes for Hunger.
Homes for Hunger.
Where you buy anytime you buy a home, sell a home, or we buy a home or sell a home from you, we donate a portion of those commissions or proceeds to Feeding America to help give meals to those that are in need. I think
Nice.
Donnie's on
It stacks
Tony.
up.
I said Donnie.
Yeah.
I said Donnie. I just combined it Tony.
And
With-
donation.
With
Donations.
Donny.
Wow. Let's go.
Can we get this guy coffee, please?
Let's go. Okay.
Well, he's not doing like a couple billion meals
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
right?
that's what I was gonna say.
Just
His
some
goal was $1 billion,
insane
and he hit
amount,
it. A
right?
billion free meals. How cool is that?
That's awesome.
That's beautiful.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Badass.
All right. One last pitfall that most agents, wholesalers, investors make.
Oh Lord, there's so many. I think if I had to say, it kind of goes on the last one. Not just becoming a master of their craft, but being open to mentorship by those that know the craft, right?
Cut the curve in half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because there's a lot of them that come in and they think they're all that, and
Yeah.
not open to training, or maybe a little training enough to be dangerous, right?
Right.
And they go out and get a little lucky,
Right.
and then all of a sudden it's trouble. And there's so many mentors in this business. I mean, it's not like it's hard to find one,
No.
right?
But they need to find the right one too, because
agree.
we also know a lot of the wrong one.
Well, true, right? And you have to be careful. There's programs out there that'll
Take your money.
take your money,
That's it.
Yep.
and the results will be not so good,
Yep.
right?
Yep. No, but I think what you're saying is huge. So many of us we look at it as an expense. When I first got into the business, I remember people telling me you need coaching, right? And I'm like, there's no way, I can't even afford groceries right now, let alone a coach, right? Then I closed my first deal and they're like, take a portion of that, invest it back into coaching, right? And in my mind, I'm like, it's an expense. It's an expense. There's no way. And then I had a coach help me understand that it's an investment. This is an investment to you and to your future. And this is the way you have to see it. If you were a stock, would you bet on you? Would you buy you? Because if the answer is yes, then you need to go sign up for mentorship, because that's what you're doing. You're putting money, betting on yourself, saying, all right, I'm going to take this money. This is for personal development, for me to get better, for me to go do what I need to do. So if you're a stock and you can't bet on yourself, sayonara,
Yeah.
So true.
right? And then have someone that believes in you. Like, that's another thing. You need to be around people. I remember Shaddy Bazzi, Shaddy, forever my brother. He came to me and he was like, if you were a stock, I would bet on you. I would bet on you if you were a stock. Joe D came to me, same thing. Joe D, he says, if you were a stock, I would bet on you. Now, you guys, at the time, I wasn't making any money. But what I was doing is I was doing what we were talking about on this podcast. I was consistent. I was getting after it every day. And they saw that, right? And they knew this guy can not only handle 100 calls a day, not only can he go through the process, but knowing that he's going to get somewhere. So, it's funny when we have people that come in, even though they may not get anywhere, if I see that if we see they're putting in the work day after day after day, we know it's a matter of time, right? Like Rob. Like we know Rob's going to, he just does the work day after day after day. Right?
And doesn't complain about it.
About it. And that's the whole thing.
Well, and one of the things about Rob and folks like Rob, he doesn't know any better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No bad habits.
Yeah, no bad habits.
Yep.
You get the experienced person that's maybe had a nice upcycle, and then they got to come back and start from zero, right? It's a lot harder than bringing in the fresh guy who's just like, yeah, I could do that.
He's just
naive. Caleb was the same way, right? He'd be like,
Caleb was the same way. Both Calebs though. Both
Calebs.
Well, they didn't know any better, and they both came in and crushed it, though.
No matter what I said to me, I do that.
It wasn't for them, and that's kudos that they were able to find that, right?
Correct.
But it's the fact that you're still, as long as you do what you need to do in this business, it's going to work.
And it's possible.
Period.
End of story.
It's just how it works.
Beyond possible. Beyond possible. There's guys 19 years old. How old was Ramirez when he bought his first flip? Wasn't he 17 years old?
12 years old or something.
Ramirez was 17 years old when he bought his first flip.
He was probably 12.
He wasn't even 18 years old. Wasn't even allowed to file taxes yet, and this guy bought his fucking
apparently he's friends with Pat
flip.
Mahomes. He's texting him. He's like, good game, bro. And I'm like, is that really Pat Mahomes' number? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, nice.
Hey, if there's one person that can get a hold of Pat Mahomes, it's
fucking
Ramirez.
Look at the guys at Michael Zuber's event.
Yeah.
Right? With 18, 19-year-olds, they already have 35 properties,
I heard
all
about that.
seller financed. Right?
Yeah.
No money. I mean, they had to maybe borrow a little here and there to make it happen, but no money up front, 18, 19. So
the only limitation is you, baby.
That's it.
And they just came in and nobody told them they couldn't do it.
Nope.
So they're just doing it.
Yep.
Right? And with some mentorship.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day. So
I really like this. I think we need to do this twice a month with the OG.
This. It's easy.
This was big. I like this. This is cool.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
All right. You guys,
Get to chat.
today was fun. If you aren't following KP the OG, make sure you're doing so. KP, how do they find you?
On Instagram, it's just KP the OG buys homes. That's it. I'm not on anything else. But you'll see, hopefully, like sunsets and sunrises and bug photos and all that, and stuff we promote here from work. I fancy myself a bit of a photographer, and it's all done on the iPhone, by the way. I actually am taking an iPhone Academy class now, and I belong to some Facebook iPhone groups.
Nice.
Where
Check
we
you out.
post photos and critique each other's photos and stuff.
Right.
Because I've been taking sunset and sunrise photos, and obviously here we are in Dana Point, a pretty good place to do that. So yeah, you might see a bunch of that on there too. If you like that sort of thing.
Heck
so
yeah.
It's not all work, not all the time, right?
it.
Maybe even a salty picture of me after surfing. With clothes on, by the way. Nobody wants to see that. Trust me.
Only for OnlyFans, OG.
Only for OnlyFans. Let's talk about that real fast. We'll end here. Is your next venture OnlyFans?
Well, there's got to be a group of girls out there that like grandpas.
Gilf. He's a gilf.
I guarantee you there is.
Absolutely. And they want your feet pics, OG.
Oh my God. KP's like, I don't think they want that.
He's a
There
gilf.
may be some other pick, but maybe not. That's all I'm saying. All right. Hopefully that gets edited out.
All right, cool.
We'll end on that. OG, it's a pleasure, man. We appreciate you. We love you. And also, side note, if you guys want to get better role playing, he holds role plays Tuesdays and Thursdays. Is that correct?
Yeah, send me an Instagram note to KP Buys Homes KP the OG Buys Homes is Instagram. My email is just KP Buys Homes, and I'll make sure you get an invite. We have agents, we have wholesalers. You can do any kind of role play you want, and there's somebody there that will be able to handle what you got. I've been an agent. I mean, we can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Nick. We all work together, but we don't sit down and just
shoot the
shoot
shit.
the shit very often.
That's why
So
this was fun.
This was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And these guys are incredible men on their own. I'm blessed to be here, and I thank you guys for having me.
We are the blessed ones, my good sir.
We
Thank
are.
you.
Alrighty then.
Much love, brother. See you soon.
Roundtable. See you guys next time.
Let's go.
Yay.
Nice try.